Hello, everybody. My name is Jacob. I like sports. Welcome to another edition of JK Sports. And today we finally have some real NFL football. However, I'm not going to get into the game of today. What I think is going to happen. I'm going to take a look bigger picture and break down for you guys what I think is going to happen with the Super Bowl this season. So what I'm going to do is I'm going AFC, NFC, and then I'm going to give you guys my prediction what will happen to the actual Super Bowl. And I think it'd be a pretty entertaining Super Bowl if I say so myself. However, I start things off in the AFC, and realistically, I only see two teams having a shot at these things, that being either the Baltimore Ravens or the Kansas City Chiefs. So first, I'm going to talk about the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs were fortunate enough in the offseason. They did not lose that many people. They only lost Kendall Fuller in the secondary. They were able to restructure Sammy Watkins' deal, get a franchise tag for Chris Jones. And another good thing that most Super Bowl teams deal with is the fact that once the Super Bowl is over, they're the reigning Super Bowl champions. They walk around, anywhere they go, they pretty much own the place because they're the Super Bowl champions. However, because of COVID, they kind of didn't get to go out and party a lot. Andy Reid touched on this a few days ago, and I think it's a really big benefit for the team. And personally, I do too. They didn't get to gloat. They didn't get to feel themselves too much. They really just got to celebrate for a few weeks, and they were locked down for, how many months has it been now? But the Chiefs are still an incredibly strong team. They added the likes of Clyde Edwards-Helaire through the draft. Like I said, they were able to keep Chris Jones, keep Sammy Watkins. And another key piece that a lot of people forgotten that they still managed to keep was Eric Bieniemy not getting a head coaching job this offseason. So that team is still stacked. That team is still absolutely incredible. And the only team that I think has a shot at dethroning them would be those Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Baltimore Ravens, we're going to see if Lamar Jackson can step up in the throwing game. We all know what he can do running the ball. That's what won him his MVP last season, was the best quarterback in the league. And we need to see him throw the ball a little better, because when it comes to the playoffs, running the ball as a quarterback hasn't proved to work as well as it does during the regular season. Once teams can get a little longer to focus on just you, they kind of start to figure it out a little bit, unfortunately. So he's going to need to take that next step forward. And to a team that didn't have a lot of holes, they added some decent pieces. They added Calais Campbell, Derek Wolfe, able to keep Matt Judon with the franchise tag, as well as drafting the players Patrick Queen and J.K. Dobbins. Now, they lost Earl Thomas, of course, but as we've all seen, I think it's better for him to walk based on the head case he is. It's better off that he's away from the team, even though he's one of the most talented safeties in the league. It's unfortunate that his personality has gotten in the way of his game. But Ravens are going to be even more solid. And with Lamar Jackson's third season coming up right now, he's going to need to take a step up. And I lost a little bit of confidence in him after that AFC divisional game against the Titans. I was very disappointed. As you guys know, I do support the Ravens, and I really hope that we can see the Ravens step forward and make it to the Super Bowl this year. So those would be my two AFC teams. Now the NFC, a little bit more tricky. We got about four teams in this race that I think have a legitimate shot. And of course, you can make there's arguments for teams that I left off this list, like the Philadelphia Eagles. Carson Wentz is always going to be someone who's considered dangerous, who can lead his team. As we saw last year, it took pretty much no offense to the playoffs. If he has more consistent weapons, maybe that he can lead the Eagle team to the playoffs. The Cowboys, as we all know, has a very stacked offense. However, their defense is rather weak. So let's get into the four teams that I do believe has a legitimate shot. And like with the AFC, I started off with the Super Bowl winners. I'm going to start in the NFC with the Super Bowl losers, that being the San Francisco 49ers. Once again, almost as strong as they were last season. They unfortunately did lose DeForest Buckner. Had to trade him away. They really couldn't afford him. However, they did draft his replacement, Javon Kinlaw, who heard mixed reports through camp so far. However, we still need to see time if he can improve. Defensive line is a very hard position, just like any other position in the league. So we need to see if he can improve. They traded for Trent Williams, which is great to replace that left tackle spot. And wide receiver core is kind of banged up. Added Brandon Ayuk through the draft. Deebo Samuel is still a question for week one. They've had a lot of injuries in the offseason. It's been a very injury-ridden team. They remind me a lot of the Eagles last season. Except Eagles, of course, it happened just throughout the entire season where it's like, all right, who's getting hurt this week? So if they can get healthy again, they're just as good as they were last season. They didn't lose anything too serious. I do still expect them to probably be the number one seed. However, I want to see how that Super Bowl loss hangover affects them. we've seen in the past with the Atlanta Falcons, Philadelphia Eagles really struggling that next season to pick things up. The Rams, of course, also lost or didn't make the playoffs last year. So I want to see if they're able to bounce back from that Super Bowl loss hangover. However, I still expect them to be a very strong team. Following up them, I'm going to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is probably the most exciting team in the football in the NFL. I combined NFL and football league there. I mean, you can't add Tom Brady and things not get more interesting. You add the most consistent quarterback of all time, the greatest quarterback of all time. You replace Jameis Winston, one of the least consistent quarterbacks of all time. If you just look at his offensive numbers, speaking of Jameis Winston, if you look at his offensive numbers, but you leave out interceptions, that's a good quarterback. That's a top tier quarterback. And hopefully he can go over to the Saints and learn something. However, we all saw how poor he was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers those last few years. It was really a shame from the number one pick to be that poor. However, they did add Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time, added Leonard Fournette, added Gronk to the offense that already had Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, O.J. Howard. That offense is stacked, as well as the fact that defense was already really good. Shaq Barrett, they got a franchise tag on him, so he's able to stay. I'm not sure if it was a franchise tag or extension. Doesn't really matter. All that matters is he's on the team. That defense is really good. A defense was able to keep them in games last year. However, the offense wasn't able to score enough points to get them much wins. And I really like the Buccaneers this year. They could be the first team to play the Super Bowl in their home stadium. That is something that is interesting, and Tom Brady could just add to his legacy. So I really like the Buccaneers this year, followed by a team that I'm pretty skeptical on because the last few years, everybody's been really high on them. They've had some absolutely soul-crushing defeats in the playoffs, that, of course, being the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees last season should not be surrounded by so much controversy, part of which is his own fault for comments he's made in the past few months. We had the Alvin Kamara contract issue that just came up, as well as Michael Thomas is going to be a diva at any given moment. They added Emmanuel Sanders, Malcolm Jenkins, free agency, two experienced veterans that, one of which is one of the leaders in the NFL Players Association, as well as Emmanuel Sanders, wide receiver in the Super Bowl last year, infamously was overthrown by Jimmy Garoppolo. So they have the talent, they have the experience. However, they just seem to be, I don't know if they're put together well enough. I don't know if the chemistry in that locker room is going to be weird enough. There's a lot of personalities in there, and there might be a lot of conflicting personalities. Personally, I'm just not feeling the Saints this year as much as in years past. However, I can't deny the fact that they are still a very legitimate team. They're still a very strong team. And if they're hot, they can definitely make the Super Bowl. So last, but probably not least, I got to talk about the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks, there's really one reason that stands out above all for why I think the Seattle Seahawks can make the Super Bowl, and that, of course, is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is, in my opinion, the second best quarterback in the league, just following Patrick Mahomes. You have a team with Russell Wilson. I have a hard time ever counting you out of the Super Bowl race. He's so good for that team. He's so good for that city. He's such a strong leader. He's has such a strong mentality. He's so positive. He wants to win so badly each and every Sunday and will do anything for that team to win. The offense has gotten better the last few seasons, adding DK Metcalf last year, still having Tyler Lockett. We'll see how that running game is. Not the best. On both offensive line and defensive line, they could really improve. However, they added Jamal Adams in the secondary, and the secondary was a big piece of what won them that Super Bowl back in 2013. So a stronger secondary, got Russell Wilson. There's always going to be a chance. However, I still a little skeptical on them. But where does that leave me in terms of what I think is going to happen? You have these four strong teams in the NFC, got two very strong teams in the AFC. Where does that leave me? And after weeks of thought about this, I do think it is going to come down to the Baltimore Ravens and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. And that's a Super Bowl I'm sure a lot of people would love to see. That'd be a very entertaining Super Bowl. Baltimore Ravens fallen short the last two seasons. Lamar Jackson's fallen short the last few seasons. However, they're still a very strong team. They're a very, very dynamic team. And if Lamar Jackson can improve his throwing skills as well as the running skills he already has, there's not much you can do to game plan against him because you don't know what he's going to do on any given Sunday. And then, of course, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers adding Tom Brady, that already really strong offense, playing in their home stadium. And as well as the fact that Tom Brady is one of the clutchest quarterbacks of all time. Like, he might struggle in September. That's notably been his worst month. and they do have the Saints to start off the season with. However, when it comes down to February or even January, I don't know if there's anybody else in the history of the league I would rather have as my quarterback. Even at age 43, I would rather have Tom Brady. The consistency, the legendary status of him, I'd rather have him than anybody else in NBA history, NFL history. So I do think it's going to come down to the Buccaneers, Ravens, and it hurts me to say this, but I do have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning in their home stadium against the Baltimore Ravens. Really pains me to say that. However, Tampa Bay, at the end of the day, I believe is better. It's just slightly better, more experience, and I think we're going to get it done. I really don't like this. May I say, I don't like the Super Bowls in Tampa. Personally, I would only host the Super Bowl in 3 cities. Maybe you could argue for maybe a New Orleans. That's a party city. However, Las Vegas just got this new stadium, amazing city. Los Angeles, once again, new stadium, amazing city. Has the capacity. Both those cities has the capacity to hold a Super Bowl crowd, as well as where it was last season down here in Miami. That was one of the most entertaining Super Bowls we've had, as well as the pre-Super Bowl festivities they had. They did a really great job, but all that's pointless because my say is not going to matter in the end of the day. But at the end, I do have Tampa Bay versus the Ravens. And unfortunately for me, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as our 2020-2021 NFL champions. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that any of these teams that I've listed below could sneak back up? Of course, there's still the Chiefs. Chiefs made it to the Super Bowl last year. 49ers made it to the Super Bowl last year. Saints with Tom Brady. Same with Saints with Drew Brees. Seahawks, Russell Wilson. Arguments can be made for all those teams. So please let me know in the comments below what you think our Super Bowl matchup is going to be and who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl. But once again, guys, this has been I'm Jacob. I like sports. Welcome to another edition of JK Sports. Thank you all for watching. Please get in the comments below. Please like, please subscribe, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.